I'm currently in the queue hall. It's about 45 minutes until the show opens. There's tons and tons of people in here, and very, very loud. There's like big projection screens with stuff happening and lights flashing. So it's just going to be standing around for a while until the show opens. So there's a countdown happening on the screen now. There's like 10 seconds left. And there's Doom Eternal on the screen. There's been lots of Bethesda trailers playing. There's heaps of flashing lights and everything. It's pretty exciting, really. So the queue is moving now, and I'm just walking into the hall now, and straight up there's a bunch of indie games, and you can see a bit further down there's the Nintendo booth, so that's where I'm going first. So there's, they've got Pokemon Sword and Shield, which there's a queue for that already, and a bunch of other games. Luigi's Mansion 3, Overwatch, a few demos for Super Mario Maker 2 and Smash. Some indie games as well, Hollow Knight's Silk Song, and we've got Ori and the Blind Forest, Ni no Kuni, Spiritfarer, Neocab. I actually tried the demo for Neocab, it's not too bad. Disney Tsum Tsum, Switch Online for NES and Super NES games, Spyro, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, Astral Chain, which is so good. So I'm going to try and play some of this stuff and work out what's good. So I'm in the Nintendo booth, just played the Spiritfarer demo for a little bit. It's kind of a very arty, story-based 2D platformer. It's got a really nice hand-drawn art style, and you play as a female character who also seems to have a pet cat. I'm not sure what the cat does yet. There are different animals you can talk to. You're very story-based, and you're on a kind of old-style sailing ship that's also a houseboat of some kind. And there's a bunch of different things you can do on the ship to start with, just as a tutorial, like go fishing off the back, cook the fish. The first island you go to, there's a builder and you build an extra room on the ship. From the short demo it's kind of hard to say what the overall gameplay is going to be like, but yeah, it definitely seems like there'll be a story that follows through, and it seems not too bad. And so I was just playing the demo for Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair. It's actually a lot very surprising how good it actually is. Because the first Yooka-Laylee came out and a lot of people complained about how kind of dated it feels and not that great, but this one actually feels a lot like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, so less like the really old Donkey Kong Country games. So I think that's definitely one I'm going to get. It's kind of like Tropical Freeze and Returns. I'm not sure which one's Yooka and which one's Laylee, but the little bat rides on the lizard's back, like Diddy does ride Donkey Kong. So it's very similar in that way, and then they have some extra abilities, like you can roll and do a bunch of different attacks and stuff. It's very noisy here, but yeah, Yooka-Laylee's good. So I was just playing Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD, which is interesting because I'm pretty sure that's a remake of the Wii game. Previously I've only played the GameCube one and 3DS one and the one on N-Gage, which is just a portable version of the original GameCube one. Banana Blitz is interesting because it's got more stuff to do in it, like instead of just rolling around the course, you can actually jump. And at the end of each set of 10 levels, I think there's a boss battle. This demo, you're only allowed to play until the end of the second boss. So that's what I played, and I really had a lot of fun with it. I'm definitely buying it. So it's basically what you would expect from Super Monkey Ball, except you can jump and there's bosses. So that's fun. Alright, well, I just tried 2 demos in the Nintendo booth. The first one was Resident Evil 5, which I have been looking forward to trying. I never really played it back in the day. I tried a demo of it once and didn't like it, but that was a long time ago and I like different games now. But anyway, Resident Evil 5 is a 360 game, so it runs really well on the Switch. They had it playing on a TV, which was nice. A lot of the other demos they have are portable or handheld only. The demo just kind of drops you in to a mission. I didn't really know what I was doing, but yeah, the controls work well and it plays well, runs smoothly, just as you would expect. I actually already have the Resident Evil triple pack pre-ordered on Amazon, which has Resident Evil 4, 5 and 6, so I'm definitely looking forward to playing it. Now the next demo I just tried was The Witcher 3, and that one was in handheld mode. It's really impressive how they even managed to get it running on Switch. Even in handheld mode you can tell it's running at quite a low resolution, and it does chug a little bit, but the fact that such a big complicated game can even run on Switch, it's really good. A few years ago I played some of Witcher 3. I put maybe 20 or 30 hours into it. I wanted to like it, but it was just a bit too complicated for me, so with the combat system and stuff. But yeah, it's great that it's on Switch and that it's playable. Yeah, I think that's all for those 2. Alright, I'm here with Ian from Giant Margarita, and he's got his new game here, the Party Poppers. How are you going?
I'm going really well. How are you?
I'm good.
Enjoying your PAX so far?
Yep, it's very good. Now, I've played quite a bit of Party Golf and Party Crashes. I can see Party Poppers looks very much like a take on Party Golf.
Yeah, absolutely. We love local multiplayer games, and once we'd made Party Golf, we wanted to make a sequence of those, and so first we did 2D golf, of course. Then we did racing in the old style of Micro Machines, and now we're doing a platform game.
Yeah, I kind of like how instead of hitting a golf ball around, this one's kind of more of a platformer, and you kind of use the grapple to swing around to collect all the balloons.
Yeah, absolutely. We wanted to have a really cute character in this one, so we spent a bunch of really limited development time so far. We've only spent 3 to 4 weeks on this game. Wow. We did it last year, and then since then we've actually worked on a different game, but we wanted to make the characters be super cute, and we're about to hit full development just before and after Christmas.
Well, that's not very long working on this game then. I saw it had some assets from like Party Crashes in there.
Yeah, so we've still got a little bit of leftover Party Crashes stuff in there, because we build these games on top of the skeleton of the previous ones. Party Crashes was built on Party Golf, and now Party Poppers is built on top of Party Crashes. Every single time we're coming up with new ideas, and we're bringing game modes across from those previous modes into the newer games as well.
And do you plan on still putting all the crazy modifiers into this one?
Absolutely. We've already got a bunch, but we're going to have way more. So we can change things at the moment, like trying to play this with reverse gravity is really stupid. You can already do things per player. You can turn off jumping for some people, you can turn off grappling. The 2 basic movement mechanics you turn off for some people. We were playing a game of that earlier with me and another player who weren't allowed to jump, and we were just relying on being able to fall off the top of a level and down again. We set things per player. We hope to have another couple of 100 options in there before we launch this, and hopefully midway through next year is when we're doing that.
And do you plan on putting it on Switch as well?
Absolutely, we love Switch. So this is going to be out on Switch, PlayStation and Steam, probably Xbox as well. We love Switch so much, we've got another game coming out on Switch in a month called Squidgy's Takeover.
Yeah, I was playing that just a few minutes ago. That one seems pretty good.
Yeah, it's basically in the really short form, it's Lemmings but with physics. So you control a bunch of characters that will just die if you don't do anything. You try and get a bunch of them into a portal to get them to safety. In Squidgy's takeover, the reason that you're trying to save them is because they are on a planet where their mother's got too big and she's kind of squishing them. There's not room for anybody, so you want to go and take over the rest of the galaxy. Unclear if you're the hero or not.
Yeah, it seemed pretty fun from the few levels that I played of it, and I like that it uses the pointer-style controls like the Wii.
Yeah, so we built it to be a touchscreen game, but then once we saw that some other games had come out with pointer-style controls like World of Goo and things like that, we were like, oh, well, that's absolutely perfect for this game. So you can play it in TV mode. It looks beautiful in 1080p. It looks beautiful on the handheld as well, and you can also play it in tabletop mode if you want to sit it down and just use the pointer controls to play it like that. That works awesome as well.
Yeah, it's got a very different art style to your other party games. It's and like different design overall.
Yeah, it's I would say it's prettier than our other games. We've got a much more refined art style for this one. You know, naturally as we get better at development, we try and put more and more refinement into everything that we bring out.
Yep, well, I think that's about all, so thanks for talking to me, Ian.
Thanks for your time. Yep. Glad to see you again.
Yeah. So I'm here with April from Spacecraft Labs and your game Sprocket Rocket Rumble. It seems pretty good to me. What can you tell me about it?
So Sprocket Rocket Rumble is a 4-player, multiplayer mayhem kind of last man standing game. Pretty friendship destroying for sure. The goal is to blow up the other robots with rockets, and the rockets also destroy the ground. And yeah.
It really reminds me of Mario Party minigames, that sort of thing.
Yes. It was actually inspired by Crash Bash, one of the minigames from that. It was like the Crash Bandicoot version of Mario Party back in the day. So.
Okay, and I like that it's kind of like a twin-stick shooter, except also a platformer, how you have to jump around.
Yeah. So we kind of found that was the easiest way to control it, because you got the shoot, you got the jump, and then how can you run around? Twin stick seemed to be the way to go for that. And also a lot of people have played that kind of game, so it made sense. Yeah.
Is there a reason why the robots are fighting each other?
I mean, originally they were gladiators. We had a robot gladiator thing going on. That kind of hasn't come through in what we've got so far, but maybe we'll bring it back in the end, but yeah.
And you've got it on PC and PS4, I'm guessing. Is it coming to Switch at all?
It's just on PS4, not PS4, PC at the moment. We are hoping to bring it to Switch. That would be great. I think it would be a great fit, especially with the Joy-Cons and stuff. But we'll see how that goes. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for talking with me. I really like it. I'll have to keep an eye on it.
Cheers, man.
All right. So I'm here with Richard from Split Symmetry with your game Tech Hunter. What can you tell me about it briefly?
Hi. So Tech Hunter is a science fiction treasure hunting game. You're part of an intergalactic expedition that's become crash-landed on a remote planet full of alien structures. So you get sent out with your hover ship and a small fleet of drones to investigate those structures and find alien technology to get unstranded from the planet.
Yeah, so I mentioned to you before, but the world design really reminds me of the desert in, I've forgotten the name now, Recall. And you've got a big ship and then a little drone you can drop out of the bottom of it to drive around. I think you mentioned there are also other little drones you can drive around?
Yeah, so we're ultimately going to have 3 separate drones. We've got 2 implemented in the game so far, only one of them in the demo because we wanted to keep the demo short, and we've got a 3rd one as well that's still very much under development.
Yeah, so I played it all the way through the demo, and the overall gameplay from what I can see so far is you're exploring these little cabins. That really reminded me of, did you ever play Star Fox Zero?
I have not, no.
Okay, well there's a section in that where you've got this kind of hover ship, and it's much simpler than this, but you go up to a thing, you drop down a little robot and you explore a very small room, so I press a button or something. But yeah, I like how this one, it's much more open, you've got these big caves or whatever they are to explore and little puzzles inside to do. So are there going to be lots of those on each island? Do you have to try and work the puzzles out to progress, or...?
Yeah, so that's the idea. Each of the different puzzles will give you either keys that let you get into other interior areas, or it will give you technology and components that you can use to purchase new abilities. So it's got kind of a Metroidvania style progression through the game.
Okay, in the demo, one of the things you could upgrade is the little jump ability to kind of jump across things, a warp or whatever. What was that called in the game?
The blink?
Blink, right. Do you have examples of any other upgrades you can get?
Yeah, so one of the other ones for the Roadster drone, so like a fast-moving car thing, it's sort of like interaction with alien technology thing as a disruptor, so you can use that one to disable things like force fields and interact with doors and other alien electronics, so that then your other drones can do things while that drone is around disrupting those things for you.
Right, and those little green crystal things, they were the currency to buy those, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like it from the demo. It looks really nice, and I think it plays pretty well. Do you have any plans to bring it to Switch at all?
It's one of the most common questions that we get. Can we have your game on Switch? So we'll see if we can, because yeah, we just want to get it to everyone who wants to play it.
So at the moment, it's just on PC, hey?
Well, we're developing it on PC, but we're developing it for PC and console, so it's very much designed to be played with a gamepad. So ideally, we'll be able to put it on anything that has a gamepad.
Yeah. Do you have a rough release window when you want to get it out, or?
Not at the moment. We're all working on it part-time as like independent developers, so the timeline's very much an as soon as we can, but when we can.
Yeah, right, that's good. Thanks for talking to me. I really like it.
Thank you very much.
So I'm here with John from Jodo Games, and your game is Drill 7. You can probably explain it better than I can, so how was that briefly?
So the game is Drill 7, so it's a mobile game. Very simple controls. There's a little rocket ship that you fly around some platforms, avoid some enemies, and it's available now for iOS and Google Play.
And we were just playing the, I guess you could say, prototype co-op version, and you're flying a little ship with thrusters on the left and right sides, and one player controls one side and one player controls the other side. It's quite difficult, but it's pretty fun, I think. So you've got running on a Mac with Joy-Con connected to it. Do you have any plans on bringing the game to Switch at all?
Yes, that Switch is one of our next platforms that we're going to target. It seems to work really well with Switch, and it works really well with the two controllers, so it's definitely on the to-do list. Since we've released from iOS and Android, Switch would be our natural next platform to release to.
And would that just be the current base game plus the co-op thing that we've just played?
It will include everything. It will include the single-player game, which comes out now, and the multiplayer as well. So we believe that games shouldn't have too much DLC payments and things like that. So if you pay for it once, then that should be, you should get the full price for the game and no ads. So
yeah, that sounds good to me. I'll have to have a go of the single-player version, but in the stage that we're playing in the co-op thing, there were like it turns into a bit of a maze with different guns shooting at you, and then at the end, or that other stage we were doing, there was a big fan. Are there other kind of elements that come into it?
yeah, so with later levels, there are other obstacles and enemies. For example, there's trains and things like that. And the full game has a story behind it, so everything will make sense if you play the full game. But with a PAX demo, you want to give everyone a flavor, a taste of a couple of different enemies without having to go through too many other levels.
Do you get any upgrades for your little ship at any point?
There's no upgrades at the moment with the ship, and there isn't any planned at the moment, but it's definitely something that would be interesting to add. It would require some rethinking of obstacles and things like that. So.
But yeah, I think that's all the questions I have, so I think it's a pretty good little game. I'll have to check it out.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So it's 6 o'clock and the expo hall has just closed. I've had a really good day so far. It's been basically all of it in Nintendo and the indie section, playing a bunch of stuff. I haven't really looked at anything else yet, just because there's so many indie games to look at, and in the morning it takes a while to play the Nintendo games because there's so many people in there. So yeah, it's been such a good day. Looking forward to tomorrow. I won't be recording anything tomorrow because I am doing cosplay stuff, but on Sunday I should be doing more. Well, it's Sunday and the final day of PAX. I didn't really do any recording yesterday because I didn't have my recorder with me because I was couldn't carry my bag, but I played a few things, so I'm just going to quickly talk about them now. I tried Rad on Switch, which it's been out for a little while. It's got a really nice art style, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's nice anyway. I like the overall style and gameplay. It's kind of an action-y kind of adventure-y game, but the thing I don't like about it is it's a roguelite, so if you die you have to start again, which I don't really like in games. Then I played the single player demo for Minecraft Dungeons. It's simpler than Diablo, but it's really good. I'll definitely be getting that one when it comes out, which is kind of funny because I don't like normal Minecraft at all. So it's a dungeon crawler, except Minecraft aesthetic, and all the Minecraft characters and enemies and stuff. It was really fun. I played that over at the Xbox booth. And another thing I played was Darksiders Genesis, which seems really good from the demo. I played co-op with a friend and had fun with it. It's a lot like Diablo 3, but with a few changes, like it's got split screen for the co-op instead of just on the one screen together, so you can get further apart. It'd be nice if they had the Lego style split screen where if you were close it would be on one screen, but then if you got too far away it would split. It's been a little while since I played Diablo 3, so I can't remember exactly, but Darksiders Genesis feels a little bit more like a twin stick shooter. It's just a bit more shooty than Diablo from what I remember. But yeah, that was good. I'll probably get that at some point. So I'm here with Matt from Team Fractal Alligator with your game Wrestle Dunk Sports. What can you tell about it briefly?
Sure, so it's a local and online multiplayer sports game. It's going to be coming out on Switch. There's 4 sports. You can play wrestling, smash ball, volleyball, and fencing. They're all designed to be super tight, really easy to get into games that really immediately pull you into like meta games and mind games against your opponent. So it's kind of like, I really like the thing in fighting games where if you get someone that's like really equal in skill, you're like, it's mostly mind games and like an interesting like conversation between 2 people, but it takes so long to build up the sort of moveset to be able to do that because fighting games are quite hard to learn. And I wanted to make something that had like a really easy input set to be able to achieve that same sort of feeling. And yeah, I've worked towards that in several different games. So just try to make them all really approachable, but have that sort of like really satisfying interactions in all of them.
Yeah, I played all 4 modes, and like the overall gameplay is quite simple, but when you actually play it, it gets very challenging, especially the one with the swords. What was that called again?
Fencing.
Yeah, fencing. Now it's got a pretty nice simple art style, but what are the characters?
I mean, they're just rectangles. I call them the athletes. I wanted to make sure that the hitboxes were always really visible. That was like really important to me going through the entire project and making sure that like the game was very clear in that sense. So they're just little rectangles with little faces on them. It was weird when I was developing. I put the faces on as like an experiment. I didn't know if it would be weird or not. But as soon as I put the faces on and then removed the faces, it seemed like I'd horrifyingly scraped a face off of this thing. And I could never go back, so they were stuck with faces forever. And I just spent a bunch of development time making them have like cute little stupid reactions to things. I wanted to make them look kind of goofy, and also if they ever win, they should look really smug and proud of themselves.
Yeah, I really like the character design.
Thank you.
Now there's the 4 different sports: wrestling, smash ball, fencing, and volleyball. What was the idea to have those 4 included?
Well, I really love games that are very small and tightly designed. And that's a problem because if you're going for a commercial release, it usually feels like those sort of games are too small to justify like buying it or the download. I think games that are too small generally do quite badly. You need to be of like a certain size to justify like a position on the Nintendo eStore, right? And if I want to release on Switch, I felt like either I would have had to add a lot of like cruft that I didn't want to one of these sports to sort of fill it out to the size of the whole game, or I thought I could pack 4 games together into one strong foundation that had like really good netcode, really good controller support, that sort of thing, and sort of make something that was big and sellable enough that way without compromising the sort of nice clean purity of the individual games.
So it's got online multiplayer as well?
Hell yeah. I spent so much time on this netcode. The netcode's really wild good. Jamie Williamson just there worked on it as well. It works in kind of a special way. It's like a new implementation of the backwards reconciliation model that games like Street Fighter work off of, where whenever you put it synchronizes your clocks at the start of a match, and whenever you get input over the network, it rolls the entire simulation of the game back in time to when the button was really pressed, puts the button in, and then re-simulates forward in time. So this all works in only int space, so there are only whole numbers in the whole game, no decimal points. So that has a bunch of weird consequences, like you can't get a distance between 2 points, because that involves the square root, which gives you a decimal point. And all of the timings aren't in seconds, they're all in frames. So you never get that muddiness where something that's meant to take 1 second will actually have like 16 milliseconds of drift, because at 60 FPS a frame is 16 milliseconds, and depending on where you hit it, it can take slightly longer or slightly smaller. It's usually imperceptible to people, but I think really caring about the crispness and the true correctness on frame and int level has given the game like a real tightness that I really appreciate.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It's very technical sounding, but it's good to see that you're putting effort into it. I know some people really care about the netcode.
Yeah, so that's just not netcode as well. That goes back to just the normal gameplay, where that also has the, the timings that are always in frames, and it always runs at a consistent 240 frames a second, even if it renders lower than that. Which means that the gameplay, it has this effect of being like, even if your game's lagging, as long as you're putting in your inputs as if it's running perfectly, your inputs are always like going through. And that should work for online as well. Like, even if you have a laggy connection, if you press the right button at the right time, you will win, guaranteed. And there's no bullshit with whose packet makes it to the server first. It's all about who's better.
Yeah, that's really good, because when I was playing earlier, it does feel very, very accurate for when you're pressing the buttons for when you're attacking. Well, I think that's about all I had for you, so thanks for talking with me.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Right, I'm with Shane from Manatee and your game Unfamiliar. I really like that the style is with cats. What can you tell me about it?
So Unfamiliar is our first game that we're working on here at Manatee, and it's what we're calling a collect 'em up. It's just a nice chilled out experience for people who don't want anything too high pressure in their gaming experience. So there's no win or loss conditions. It's just an endless sort of exploring, collecting, crafting, dressing up your cat, customizing hats and skins, building your treehouse with scratching posts, and then going out into your magical storybook worlds to do more exploring, finding more ingredients, and just pretty much going through that for as long as you want.
Yeah, I played through the little demo you've got here, and it seems like there are, well, in your demo here there's one stage, but you'll have a bunch of stages you kind of wander through, collect some items to unlock some stuff. In later stages, will there be any kind of puzzle elements or anything?
Will there be any what, sorry?
Puzzle things to do?
Not really. So nothing that would be considered an overt puzzle, but as you explore, parts of the environment will start to get more and more unlocked, so you can find new areas that you didn't find before. And there's a slight hint of that in the demo that we've got here. So in the demo, we're showing off 2 levels, or 2 tiny little stubs of levels, and you play through the first level twice. The second time round, there's a few little extras that weren't there the first time round, and then when you go into the second level, the blue abstract one, that's sort of like a teaser for what comes next. So there's no sort of problem-solving type puzzles. It's more just as you continue to collect and explore, more and more things will get unlocked, and depending on what order you find things in will determine what order the additional unlocks happen.
Right, that seems pretty good just for a chill kind of game.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can tell me about the art? Because I think it looks really nice.
Oh, thank you very much. Our artists will be stoked to hear that. So we have an extremely talented art team. They have done an incredible job, as you can see, and it was pretty high priority for us from the get-go to do something that didn't look like everything else. So the initial concept of our game, when we were sort of working out what it was that we wanted to create, originally we wanted the entire game to look like a pop-up book and have the entire game happen in a book. And that really sort of influenced the direction that the art took, because we started experimenting with things that looked a bit like watercolor, a bit like paper, things that were a bit flat. And so, as you can see, the game doesn't look like a pop-up book, but that's where it sort of started, and so we sort of evolved into this kind of, semi-abstract, kind of flat watercolory look.
Watercolor was kind of one of the first things I thought of, and it's kind of got 2D elements in a 3D world.
Yeah.
Almost like Paper Mario or something.
A little bit, yeah.
Do you have any idea on what platforms you plan on putting it on?
So we're coming out on Steam this December, Friday the 13th, and so that'll be PC. We're looking into Mac at the moment, and next year we will be coming out on some consoles, but we can't say what or when yet.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. I think that's all the questions I had, so thanks for talking with me.
No worries, thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
Right, I'm with Tyson from Toybox Games Studios and your game Primordials Fireborn. I thought it was really good, but what can you tell me about it briefly?
Cool. Thank you firstly for playing it. So Fireborn is a third-person action-adventure game. Very much a heavily story-driven experience. So our players have kind of described it like a little bit of God of War crossed with Spyro the Dragon, crossed with Fable, is the best way that our players have described it. But yeah, very story-driven. So you take, you play as our fiery young protagonist Ash, who is a anthropomorphic phoenix, and it's your objective to guide him through the world as he unlocks the memories of his previous life.
Yeah, I really like the kind of adventure-y combat feel to it, and the overall world design, how it's all rocky and leafy, kind of in a forest or something, is that right?
What was that, sorry?
Is it set in a forest?
Yeah, so it's actually, we've actually created an entire continent. This particular bit here is set within a forest itself, as you can kind of see up on our like big background image we have there. We call that the Hollow, which is this massive expansive forest. But we have lots of different biomes. We have swamplands, we have canyons, deserts, and then you even go up on top of a volcano at one point as well. So it's very cool.
Once you get to the different areas, what sort of things are you going to be doing? Is it just exploring and finding things, or?
Yeah, so it's mainly the progress of like going through the story itself. So each new area will introduce a new mechanic, and each new area will introduce a new primordial, hence the name of the name of the game. So primordials are like these ancient creatures in the world of immense power, and you need to hunt them down with Ash in order to unlock his lost memories. So yeah, it's kind of like you explore those areas, but they're very much like story driven. Like it's linear in its design, so it pushes you through the world while still being available to explore.
Right, I remember playing the game at PAX 2 years ago, so it's been quite a long development. Do you have an idea on a release window?
Look, it's still something that we're not really comfortable talking about. The nature of how we've been working on the game is very much part-time. If we get into a position where we have the financial support we need to finish the game, we could get it done pretty quickly. But right now, there's no official release window. Yeah.
And what things have you improved over the time? Like, to me, it looks like the art style and graphics have improved quite a bit. And I think I saw something about you have improved the combat as well?
Yes, correct. So we've done a lot of work on the lighting and just the overall fidelity of the graphics in the world. Also a lot of optimization as well. But the actual big thing that we're showing off today is the improvements to the mechanics that we've done. Just a lot of polishing to make sure that the game runs in a smooth way. This is the first time that we've been able to showcase the game publicly where there isn't any game-breaking bugs. We could have realistically just left it here to do its own thing and it would have been fine, which is actually really exciting. So.
Yeah, it seemed to play pretty well when I got through the demo. Do you have any idea on platforms that you might want to be releasing it on?
So we're definitely looking to PC. We're interested and intend to release on the big consoles, but we can't confirm any of that right now.
Yeah, that seems fair enough. But yeah, thanks for talking with me. I'm looking forward to the game coming out eventually.
No worries. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Right, I'm with Wrestle from Vivek Studios with your game Ailuri. To start with, I just have to say the art is amazing.
Thank you.
And it looks really good for a 2D platformer. Now, what can you tell me about it briefly?
Ailuri is a 2D platformer, all hand drawn. It's about raising awareness for endangered species. The main character is based off a red panda, and every other character in the game is based off another endangered species that, if you encounter and save them, they'll give you a little encyclopedia about all of the little ones that you find. Yeah.
Okay, so right at the start of the game, I noticed you kind of escaping from a fire. Is that to do with the endangered species type of stuff? Is there a story that goes along with that?
Deforestation, like habitat loss and overpopulation, introduced species. It touches on all those sorts of subjects. Every enemy in the game is based off a problem or a threat to wildlife. Yeah.
Right near the end of the stage in the demo, there was another animal. What was that?
That was the little hopping mouse that you left behind in the first level. And so it teaches how, like, basically that's an extinct species in real life. And that's like teaching people about the problems that we face with endangerment and extinction.
Yeah, because I saw it sitting there on the platform, but I wasn't sure what I was supposed to do with it. I tried doing something, but was I supposed to leave it or do something?
You're supposed to leave it. But we're thinking of really, like, because a lot of people get really touched by that part of the game. So we're thinking of like really developing on that section, and like more about like if you miss it, it will like maybe there'll be different different things or different reactions that will happen to that game.
So then going to the actual gameplay, it's a 2D platformer and you've got a grapple ability and dash and stuff. Do you get other abilities later on?
Yeah, you don't just get other abilities, but other ways of using your ability. The grapple is just another mechanic that those spiritual rocks can give you. There's also like throwing things, there's pulling on things and whatnot, so yeah.
And this first stage, well, the introduction was in a fiery area, then this is a nice green foresty area. Are there other places you're going to be visiting along the way?
Yeah, the forest levels are quite vast. There's lots of like, there's also another world, couple of worlds. There's like snow and there's water. It's all in development at the moment.
And like the snow and water places, are they going to have animals in those areas that are endangered?
Yes, we've already listed down and concepted a bunch of them, and there's one, a unique one for every level.
Do you have an example of some other animals that you're putting in?
We have an elephant in there, and also was the orangutan. There's a kakapo and sea turtle and a tiger, green sea turtle and the Sumerian tiger.
Yeah, I like that concept of having endangered species as the characters in the game.
I feel like it's really important because like a lot of animals don't get a lot of representation in designs, and red pandas, they're very cute, but they're also recognizable as well. They're actually quite like popular, so it's cool.
So is that the only playable character?
Yes. There's a spirit version as well as a second player.
Do you have a rough idea on a release window that you're working towards?
Sometime next year.
And any platforms?
Switch and Steam.
Alright, the Switch is what I wanted to hear, so that's good.
Awesome.
Alright, well thanks for talking with me, that's been good.
Thank you so much. Cool.
So I'm here with Drew from the House of Mario podcast. How's your PAX been going?
It's been pretty good so far. It's just coming to an end, but it's gone really quick, unfortunately, but seen a lot of good games, and just about to record an episode, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's what it's like. There's so much to see and do that it just flies by.
Yeah, sort of yesterday, the Saturday was one of the busiest days, and we sort of ended up doing not a lot just because how busy it is, and all of that. But today we got a bit more done just because there's a bit less people, so we could sort of move around a bit more freely and talk to a few more people.
Any particular highlight games you want to mention?
I really enjoyed Wrestle Dunk Sports. That was a favourite of mine from AvCon earlier in the year. It's just a really fun pick up and play party game. Got 5 different modes, so you got wrestling, volleyball, fencing, a few different things. Yeah.
Did you end up playing Pokemon?
Yes, I did. It was the first game I played, actually. Got in pretty early.
Oh yeah, because you had the media badge, you didn't have to.
Yeah. So we're lucky in that respect, and it was good to play it. It's my most anticipated game, but it's also one of the games where it sort of demos, I guess, the worst. It's just a turn-based RPG, so, you know.
I wanted to play Luigi's Mansion, but because the lines were so long, I never ended up playing it.
Luigi's Mansion was a lot of fun. That's probably my favourite demo, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah, all right, well, I think that's about all the time I've got, so thanks for talking with me.
No worries, thank you very much.
Right, and that is the end of PAX. It's just a little bit after 6 o'clock and everyone's been kicked out of the hall. So it's been a really, really good day. I got to play a bunch of more indie games and few other things, and just now I finished being a guest on the House of Mario podcast, so I'll post a link to that as well. But yeah, such a good day, such a good weekend. I really hope I can come again next year. So yeah, I think that'll be all for now.